Alright guys, welcome back to Pure EVil MMA. I have a very special guest with us here today from the East Coast, from Connecticut. You guys might recognize him from CES. You might recognize him from Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. You might recognize him from performing in the Octagon. We got Matt Bessette joining us here today on Pure EVil MMA. How you doing today, champ?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
So, honestly, man, you've had one hell of a career, let alone one hell of a life. Let's back up all the way to your first battle, which really was right when you were born. I want to start right there. The doctors diagnosed you with leukemia, gave you a 50% chance of living. That must have been really hard on your parents and really proved that, you're a fighter from the day you were born.
Yeah, I was diagnosed at 2.5, so I really didn't know much else other than, what your parents tell you. If they tell you you're sick, then you're sick. If they tell you you're going to be okay, then you're going to be okay, Because you, at that point, at that age, you only know, you're only taught and you only learn from your parents. Your outside world is your household. So, getting sick at a young age kind of sucked, but at the same time, my mom was super positive and always telling me every single day that I was getting better, everything was going to be fine, I was going to be fine. So I always had that thought in my mind. It's crazy to think about it, but even at 2.5 years old, I remember this to this day, because, like you said, it did suck. But we got over it, and look where I'm at.
Well, honestly, man, when we were growing up here in Connecticut, UFC wasn't really around until, the early 90s. And, for me, I was watching wrestling and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Did you kind of follow that same path growing up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 28 right now.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I watched Turtles all the time, too. That was my thing.
And you actually, like I said, you're from right here in Connecticut. There's no real, famous fighters from out of here besides really Glover Teixeira, which is really recent. So, where did you start your mixed martial arts career? Was it at a karate school, taekwondo? Where did you start?
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of a silly story. I've told it many times, but when people still laugh at it. I've been in a lot of fights growing up. Picked on my brother, picked on my brother's friends because they were all 3 years older than me, so they're around the same age, but they were always bigger and thought they were way tougher and this and that. So I was picked on quite a bit. So every day I was fighting. So I was battling for my life at 2.5, and then growing up, I was picked on and then fighting in school. I was fighting through high school, middle school, and then when I got out of high school, I wasn't picked on anymore because I didn't have any school. And my buddy John invites me over. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. What's up?" And he's like, "You want to come over and watch some UFC DVDs?" I'm like, "What is that?" And he's like, "It's like cage fighting." I was like, "Sweet." I'm like, "I'll be right over." Go over to his house. We watched it for like an hour or so. Like old Vitor Belfort videos, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, Hoist Gracie, those. And we watch it, and then we go outside, for no joke, probably 45 minutes straight, and we just grappled. And we're both like bleeding from our heads because we're rolling around on the rocks. And we come back inside sweating and exhausted. And we're like, that was so tough. And then a few days later, we signed up at this hole-in-the-wall MMA school inside of a karate dojo that was 15 minutes away. And I grew out of that within 6 months. And then I found Oz Pariser at University of Hartford, and he pointed me in the right direction, brought me to Kip Kolar's, and ever since then it was one thing right after another.
Were you on the high school wrestling team as well, or no?
No, I didn't wrestle. I played basketball.
So before.
I'm so tall and athletic, I played basketball.
Before we jump into the real meat of things, like your upcoming fight at the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 finale, I want to talk a little bit about Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series and how it found your way to you, and compare that a little bit to the Ultimate Fighter. Because did you ever try out for the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, I tried out in December 2011. I made it to the very final round. They took like, I don't know how many they took, maybe like 16 or something like that, because it was the live show. You know how they did one live show?
Oh, the Uriah Faber Dominic Cruz season, right?
I think that's what it was.
That's the
Miles
season.
Driver's on
John
on
Anik.
that one.
John Anik made his
Yeah,
debut on that season. Yeah.
yeah, I tried out for that one, and I think maybe took like 16, and they didn't do the 32 to get. Usually they go like 32, and then you fight, and then 16 get in the house.
Yeah.
I think they just took 16, and I was down to like the final 30 that they chose, and they went with the other guys.
So basing that to the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, where they really try to find like upcoming prospects between like LFA, CES, Titan FC, or whatever. Do you think it's a better platform for them at this day and age? Because Ultimate Fighter isn't what it was when we were in high school or after high school. It's kind of faded a little bit, even though this season's really good. Do you think Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series is a little better of a platform?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. You know the answer to that just as much as I do. The Ultimate Fighter's kind of lost its shine. It was cool at the beginning, but no, I don't think really anybody cares about fighters in the house that are possibly going to get into a fight, probably not going to get into a fight, and it's not like the episodes of Nick Diaz and was it Edwin Deweese, and those episodes where people were fighting and getting drunk all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It's not the same. It's not the same viewing. But the Contender Series, I think, is the new thing. I think if they do keep doing the Ultimate Fighter, it's not going to get the same kind of ratings as maybe the Contender Series would.
And you know what? You were on the first season of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Before we talk about your fight or anything that happened, what was it like when you walked in there? Because it's basically the same place we've seen on TV from the Ultimate Fighter, but it's a little weird because there's not really an audience there. There's just like friends and family and stuff like that. So what was the experience like?
It was cool, but like you said, it was a little weird because there weren't that many people there. It was pretty quiet, but it still felt like a fight. I kind of had it was tough to like muster up excitement for that. It was really difficult, and the reason being, I think both Kurt and I were told the same thing. I was told, I don't know, I think it was like 2 or 3 days before I got the call to be on the Contender Series. No joke that we don't want Bessette in the Contender Series. We want him straight in the UFC. So just be ready because he's going to get the call. He's not the type of guy that we want in the Contender Series.
Wait, why is that?
Like,
why is that? Like why'd they go through with it then? Like you got this call 3 days before, and they said that no matter what you were going to get into the UFC.
Yeah.
So why did they?
They told me the Contender Series is not for me because I think they never gave me any explanation, but I'm pretty sure it's because of my veteran status. They were looking for guys that were more up and coming. Younger, more up and coming. I'm 33 years old.
With a 22-8 record, yeah.
So, and Kurt's like on the same level I am, in the sense that like he's had a ton of fights. He was the Titan World Champion. He's fought in the UFC already. He's established. He's very, very good. So I think they were looking for more the up and coming guys, maybe the guys that could possibly fight in the UFC. We'll see. Guys that have to prove themselves, but I think we both proved ourselves so many times that it was like, all right, we're not really looking at these guys. But I think the reason why they ended up putting us on the show is because they wanted something sexy to kick it off. Like two of the veterans that go out there and they prove themselves and they're great fighters. We want them to showcase and headline the first show, and that's how I can really try to figure out why they called me back. But I took the fight and I was like, I talked to my manager. I'm like, I can't really say no to this, can we? He's like, no, you don't say no. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And it was a fight, so I was like excited for it, but at the same time, I was like, God damn it, I got to prove myself again.
So yeah, you were going into that season or this fight as the CES champion on a 7-fight win streak, and we were all excited the second that we heard that you were going to be on the season. We were all excited, but like you said, a lot of the fighters that they chose have records with 6 or 7 fights, not 30 fights like you and Nick Newell. Nick Newell also has a similar record to you with he has a veteran record where he's fought some of the tough guys like Justin Gaethje as well. What are your thoughts on Nick Newell? Because you're very familiar with him. He lives 10 minutes from me and right from here in Connecticut. He's going to be on the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Do you kind of feel like it's the same thing that they thought about you? Like maybe he should get right into the UFC, but no, he has this opportunity to be on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. What would you have done if you were Dana White, knowing Nick Newell?
You know what I would have done if I was Dana White. I would have just signed him a while ago. He's a huge draw. He's got one fucking hand, man. That's people eat that up. They're either out there going, this guy can't hack it. He's only got one hand. He can't even block a right high kick. You're crazy. For one, you're crazy. And then there's the people that are like, wow, that's so inspirational. And there's nothing in between. So either way, either you love him or you hate him. You want to see him win or you want to see him lose. You want to see him succeed or fail, whatever. You're still going to tune in. So to me, it's, doing the Contender Series for that reason doesn't make sense. But if you're Dana White and you're looking to protect the UFC and protect Nick because you don't really know what he can do, you've got to put him in a position to prove himself first. So he's probably going to put him against a guy. Has he found a matchup yet? Do you know? I don't think he has.
I'm waiting for Nolan King to announce that, but I don't think they found somebody for him yet.
Yeah, unless they find somebody who should have been in the UFC a while ago too. Nick's gonna roll right through him, and he's gonna get in the UFC regardless. Nick is incredibly hard to deal with for 2 reasons. One, he's very good. That's the main thing. He's very good. And 2, he's got one hand. And you think about it. And you fucking think about it. And you can't help but think about it. So when you're thinking about what he's doing, you're not thinking about what you're doing. And every single person that's ever gone with Nick, the first time they spar with him, they're always thinking about his hand. And they're never thinking about what they're doing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's almost an advantage more than a disadvantage.
No, it's not an advantage. Because he does have one hand, so he can't grab with it. But he can't really strike with it. It's not nearly as hard. But where there's advantages, there's more disadvantages. So I think it probably evens out. So I wouldn't even say there is any kind of handicap whatsoever. Because like I said, it does kind of even out. But the one advantage that I think he has is people think about it. They do think about it, and you can't. That's not something out of the norm. You're always thinking about what the other guy can do, and when you get in there, and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's got one hand. What the fuck? What do I do? This guy can't stop thinking about it. So that first round, Nick is a terror in the first round. I think the longer the fight goes, the more. Let's say it's like a 5-round fight. Maybe that's when the other guy can win a round and Nick would win a round. But the first round is nice and close. You look at Nick's record, he kills a guy in the first round. He comes out really hard, and that's the type of fighter he is. And the other guy crumbles because he's getting his ass kicked and he's thinking about Nick's one hand. And, that's just, the facts are, he got that kind of talent coupled with the fact that he's already in the guy's head. Nick's going to win. He's going to win quick. And I think Nick wins by first round submission or knockout in the Contender Series. And then he starts yelling and he goes, give me an UFC den. You're in the UFC den. Now you see what I can do. And then they put him in the UFC.
I was so excited to see that Dana actually gave him a chance. I hope that he does well. My last question for you about Nick is, who would you like to see him fight in the UFC? Do you match him up against a top 15 guy, or do you start him off below that?
You start him off below that. You want to see guys. You don't, unless they're like look at Justin Gaethje. Gaethje was like the World Series champion, 5 or 6 times, and he was widely known as one of the best lightweights in the world, regardless. So you put him right up there right away. But even then, when he fought, was it Michael Johnson?
Yeah.
And Michael Johnson was probably top 15 or something like that. But at this point, Nick's had like 3 years off, and he's not one of the top 15 guys in the world. So, why jump him way up there? I think start him at around 30 or number 30 or 40 in the UFC, and then have him work his way up, just like any normal fighter would. You look at Conor McGregor; he didn't fight Chad Mendes in his first fight.
Yeah.
He fought what's his face there, Marcus Brimage, right?
Yep. Beautiful knockout.
Do that with anybody. You build them up.
So, Matt, let's talk about your fight. You got your UFC debut kind of on short notice against Arnold Allen. You filled in for Arnold Allen to fight Enrique Barzola at that amazing card for UFC 220. How did this come about? Were you just on the list for first call if this did happen on this card?
I was on the list for 5 years, man. I was on the list for 5 years. They were constantly telling me, just be ready, just be ready. So for 5 damn years, I was sprinting when I didn't have a fight. I was dieting, trying to stay lighter than normal when I did have a fight, constantly telling my wife, I don't know if they're going to call me, I don't know if they're going to call me, so I can't do this, can't do that. And it was such a mind fuck that I can't believe I'm still here. It was so crazy. My perseverance, looking back, was on another level. My wife and I, not the day before, like probably 12 hours before I got the call to fight Barzola, I'm in the kitchen with my wife, and my wife is telling me, she's like, something's got to change, honey, because we can't be in the same situation financially and physically. We gotta change something now. And I'm like, I know, and I can't keep waiting on this pipe dream with the UFC, because I should have been there a while ago, and I'm not. So I'm like, this is gonna be my last fight. And when I said this is gonna be my last fight, I'm talking about the CES fight that I was already matched up to fight. So I was supposed to fight like mid-February. I ended up fighting January 20th. And she's like, all right, well, it doesn't have to be your last fight. You don't have to retire. I'm just saying. And I'm like, no, this is definitely going to be my last fight. And we left that conversation like we were both down in the dumps. And it was just like, but I had committed to the idea that I was going to train hard for this fight, try to go out on top, and, let that be it. I was just going to be that guy that should have made it to the UFC but never did, and I'd have to be okay with that. And then 12 hours later, I think it was Nolan King. I think Nolan.
Nolan.
Yeah, he sent this tweet out at the same time that I went on Twitter and said Barzola doesn't have an opponent because Arnold Allen can't get a visa. And then I think he may have tagged me. I can't really remember. He may have tagged me where I was like, oh shit. And I immediately emailed Sean Shelby like within a second. And I was like, Barzola can get these hands. I'm always ready.
That's
and
it,
he
man.
emailed me back a minute or two later, and he goes, don't fuck with me. What's your weight? And I was like, yes. Because I know that like he won't email you back. Sean will not email you back right away ever. He won't do it unless he means business, unless he's really serious. He's never given me any kind of, he's never put a thought in my head and made me think that I was going to fight soon. He's always been like, sorry, there's nothing available, but be ready.
How excited were you? Like, how pumped were you when he responded?
I don't know. I can't, I was on cloud 9 for, I don't know, straight.
Just straight. Yeah.
48 hours straight. It was a good feeling, man. Just thinking about it right now, it was a really good feeling.
So now here you are. You have this upcoming fight against Steven Peterson at the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 finale, and he's also coming off an impressive fight, even though he's coming off a loss. He's also coming off that fight of the night where he got $50K. So that's got to be enticing for you as well. Like it's somebody that's capable to put on a good performance. So what can people?
That's why I want this fight, man. He goes out there, he bites on his mouthpiece, he comes forward. Everything in me says that we're both getting 50 G's after this fight is over. I'm always going for the finish, and I think I can finish anybody in the world. So I'm trying to finish him. But if a finish doesn't come,
Yeah, man, it's going to be a busy week, especially, and there's going to be a lot of media there. So make sure you definitely get on the mics as much as you can, because that's something where like Paul Felder's really good at, where he kind of like wheedles away. Like even if he wasn't scheduled for an interview, he'd always like just be around the media, and that's a busy week. That's a very important week. So it's awesome that you got on that card. And man, I remember seeing you at like Lion Fight or even at CES. I was just at CES not too long ago. Me and Nolan were sitting with each other, and there you are ringside. You didn't even have a fight. I think it was the night where Bam Bam's little brother fought. What's his name? The Italian pizza boy. But talking about CES, Matt, what do you think about John Gotti the third? Him winning that fight. Do you know about John?
I do. I actually have seen the highlights of him. I don't know him. I met him. I know of him, obviously. Tagged in every single one of CES's Twitter posts, so I know everything they post. So, I mean, I've seen him, and he's really exciting, and he's really aggressive, and he looks athletic as hell. I've seen some highlights of him training, and he's clearly fast and explosive. So, I don't know how old he is, but he's probably younger than me. But he's got a good career ahead of him. I think as long as he stays with good management and goes out there and stays aggressive right away in that first round and establishes his dominance in the cage, he can win a lot of first round fights.
Last question about him. Do you think he's a good contender for Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series?
Yeah, get him in 2 more fights though. 2-0 people they're gonna be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Get him 5-0 and then maybe.
There you go. So Matt, really quick, let me ask you, what did you think about this weekend? All this drama coming out of Raquel Pennington's corner. I kind of saw you discussing it on Twitter, but just in case anybody out there doesn't know, going into the 5th and final round of the title fight with Raquel Pennington versus Amanda Nunes, Rocky told her corner that she was done. She mentally gave up, and her corner was trying to pressure her into going back out there, which they actually did. But to me, it didn't seem like they gave her enough pep talk. How did you view this, and did they make the right call, Matt?
I think they definitely made the right call. I think it's a title fight. It's not even a title fight. It's the title fight that you wait your entire career for, and you work your entire career for that one chance to get that title shot, and maybe win it in the UFC. And I think that she would be kicking herself in the ass if she ended up giving up before the final round. There's only 5 minutes left. For the final round, she'd give up. I think her corner did the right thing by saying, "Listen, you only got 5 minutes. You're not done. You have way more." And her corner knows her. Her corner is, some of her best friends that she has. So, family, friends, whatever. These people know her, so they know what kind of person she is. She knows what she's capable of, but so do they. They've seen her dig deep down. So, if she went out there and she caught her opponent with a rear knee and knocked her out, they'd be looking like mad scientists. Like, how the hell did they know that? And at the same time, like, if she gets caught and loses, which is what happened in the 5th round, then they look like terrible corners, which is not the case. Anything could happen. But for real, I think everybody's corners know them very well. I was talking to my coach, and he's like, "Well, if you did the same thing, then I wonder I'd have to quickly weigh my options and be like, does Matt want to quit? Then I might throw in the towel for him. But if you had a great camp and maybe you're just a little tired, then I'd still tell you to go out there and finish the 5th round." That being said, I would never, ever, ever say that in a fight. I could be about to be knocked out or out of my feet or whatever, and I would still go back to the corner and be like, "This is my round. I got this."
Well, you think about like Duran. I mean, one of the best ESPN 30 for 30s I've ever seen was the No Moss 30 for 30, and that story and how he was remembered, even though he was a great fighter, but everyone remembers No Moss, quitting after, going into that rematch, which, we can go back and forth about that, why he quit, whether it was, celebrating too much after the first fight and whatever, but that's what people remember, and it would have looked awful on Raquel's corner, but at the same time, I feel like they should have done a little better of a job giving her somewhat of a pep talk. What would you have done if that was you in that moment? What would you say to your fighter?
Well, I have said something. Do you know who Jeff Nader is?
Sounds very familiar. The last name Nader sounds very familiar.
Jeff Nader, yeah. Jeff Nader, I think he may have retired like in 2012, 2013, around there. But Jeff was a fighter from the Northeast. He fought in Bellator. He fought Dan Kramer.
Okay, wow.
2 times. He fought Dan Kramer 2 times. The very first time he was called on like maybe a week's notice, and I cut weight with him, helped him cut weight, and he was like, it was a shitty weight cut. He didn't really have his corners, so I had to help him corner. It was me, Russell, who was my coach, and his friend Matt Santos. All 3 guys never really cornered him before. So we're out there, and like he gets poked in the eye really hard, right away, within like the first minute of the fight, and he can't see out of one eye. So he loses. I think it was like a 10-8 or 10-7 round, first round. Almost loses a 10-8, 10-7 round, the second round. And then the third round, he's still covering his eye, can't really see out of it. And to me, it's amazing that the ref didn't stop it. But I go in there after the second round, and he's like, I can't even see, I can't see. I'm like, Jeff, you don't need 2 eyes. You're fucking fine. You got this. He's like, I'm like, I know who you are. I know what you can do. Throw your right hand as hard as you can. Throw your right hand. It can put out anybody. All you need to do is just tunnel vision right now and throw your right hand. And he goes out there. 15 seconds later, he knocks Dan Kramer out with the right hand. And you know, it was definitely the biggest win of his career, because Dan was obviously also a fighter and UFC vet, Bellator tournament mainstay, and he was a huge underdog. And he went out there and he won. You just gotta know your corner. You gotta know what they're capable of, and sometimes you gotta tell them the right things. And whether that helped or not, whether he was going to throw the right hand without me or not, I feel like it may have given a little bit of confidence going to that right now.
Matt, that's a great response, man, because that can happen. Anything can happen. Look at Darren Elkin's fight. I mean, how he came back. And at the same time, you leave it up to the refs during the fight. This fighter's taking too much damage, the fight's done. I think it was more of a mental thing for Rocky going in there, even though he had a broken nose. And I really thank you for sharing your input. Guys, let us know what you think about this. You can tweet Matt at Mangler UFC. That's MANGLER UFC on Twitter. Last but not least, man, you got 7 knockout wins, 8 submission wins. You kind of briefly touched on how you think this fight's going to go, but what can fans expect? Are you pushing for a finish here?
I'm always pushing for a finish. I hate decisions. Even when I win, I hate the decision, because then I go home after and go, yeah, I got the victory, but I didn't finish them. I didn't finish them. If it went longer, I could have, but, could have, should have, would have. So I always go for the finish. And I've been working a ton on my boxing. I've been working at Ring of Champions in Manchester, Connecticut, with some of the best boxers out there. Matt Remillard and Laquan Williams, both outstanding boxers. And I've been working over there, and my hands have gotten significantly better. So look for some really good striking to be on display.
Guys.
Next fight. That being said, I got a black belt in jiu-jitsu, so I'm always, if there's a submission, I'm not going to be like, let's stand up. I'm going to go, give me that leg, give me that arm, give me that neck. So it's getting finished, man, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
And it's going down July 6th at the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 finale during International Fight Week. I cannot wait. Matt, thank you so much for joining me here on Pure EVil MMA. We wish you best of skill. And finally, we have another great fighter to root for here in Connecticut. So we want to thank you so much, and we're rooting for you, man. Best of skill.
Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
You too.
Bye, brother.
There, guys, go. Matt Bessette, the Ultimate Fighter. Season 27. Finale. Going down. We're going to be breaking that down when we get closer to fight time. What did you guys think about what Matt said about, Raquel Pennington's corner? I kind of see his point. And now that we're a little bit further away and I've been able to digest other people's opinions, maybe her corner did do the right thing sending her back in there, but I really wish they gave her more of a pep talk. I really do. I think that, you can change, like what Matt was saying, tunnel vision. Go in there and use that right hand. The corner knows the fighter. The corner has the best relationship with the fighter. It just sucks when you see somebody, in that position, wanting to give up, and they're sent back out there. It just seemed wrong. Like, almost like, not like, I don't even know how to put it. There was something about it that didn't seem right. I think what it was the demeanor of it. And I think they could have done a better job giving her a pep talk. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know on Twitter, evil_echo, that's EVIL_ECCO, or on Instagram at Pure EVil MMA. I'm coming back later today with the UFC 224 recap, because there was a lot of action that went down. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here at Pure EVil MMA, brought to you by MyMMAnews.com, guys. White knuckles till the end. Behave yourselves.